Issues affecting animals and pet owners today, how to avoid common problems, and how to extend the quality of life for your cherished companions. As a community advocate, I will also discuss important social issues that affect our city. I plan to showcase organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday
social
at 6
issues
p.m.
that affect
Tune
our
into
city.
the Voice of
I plan to showcase
Stockton.org.
organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
For the voice of San
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive
I will
every
also
first and
discuss
third Monday at
social
6
issues that
p.m.
affect
Tune
our
into
city.
the Voice of Stockton.org.
Organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
Los Tucanes de Tijuana, que nos vamos directamente.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into the Voice of Stockton.org.
Organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
Los Tucanes de Tijuana, que nos vamos directamente.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into the Voice of Stockton.org.
Organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
Los Tucanes de Tijuana, que nos vamos directamente.
Do you want to relive the golden days of Stockton? Join Nate Knott on Stockton Alive every first and third Monday at 6 p.m. Tune into the Voice of Stockton.org. Organizations and heroes who are doing amazing things to help others. Remember to tune in every Tuesday morning at 10, starting soon.
The voice of San Joaquin and the voice of Stockton present live with your host, Kimberly Wormsley. The voice of San Joaquin and the voice of Stockton present live with your host, Kimberly Wormsley.
Real life is excited. I'm loving to talk about real life stories. So I'm excited to be here. I have my son. How will people in the community? And I hope that you all
Voice of San Joaquin and the voice of Stockton present live with
I have
your host, Kimberly Wormsley.
welcome Jasmine. Excited and asked me to talk about real life. A person who's more into Jasmine. I'm excited. I have listened to my son. How will people in the community? And I hope that you all overcome the voice of Stockton.
Live with
I have
your host, Kimberly Wormsley.
welcome Jasmine. Excited and asked me to talk about real life. A person who's more into Jasmine. I'm excited. I have listened to my son. How will people in the community? And I hope that you all overcome the voice of Stockton.
Live with
I have
your host, Kimberly Wormsley.
welcome Jasmine. Excited and asked me to talk about real life. A person who's more into Jasmine. I'm excited. I have listened to my son. How will people in the community? And I hope
And so, I mean, on Dallas Avenue was kind of popping. There were many, drug dealers and stuff of that activity. But overcoming that kind of shows the person that you will become later on in the future. In those types of communities, we are very diverse. And with that, we have to have consideration for one another. And I think that compassion is a component in Dallas Avenue was kind of popping, and that's where a lot of these issues stem drug dealers,
right.
and
absolutely,
stuff
and
of that activity.
I've always had a lot of conversations with teachers,
shows the person that
in
you
particular,
will become later on in the future,
and community members about
in those
sometimes
types of communities, we are very
label
diverse,
children and families,
and with
as
that,
like
we have to have
problem
consideration
families
for one
or
another.
problem children.
And I think that compassion
however,
is a
we
component
need to
in Dallas
start
Avenue,
looking
and
deeper,
that's
digging
where
deeper to find out why
absolutely
kids are
stuff of that activity.
I've always had
but overcoming that
conversations with
kind of
teachers
shows the
is
person
absent.
that you
Particular,
later on in the
we
future.
didn't even talk members about
in those
food.
types of
Sometimes
communities, we are very
label
diverse,
children and
and
families
with
and
that, we
men
have
who
to
are
have
problem
consideration
family,
for one another.
problem children.
And I think that compassion
that is
is a
traumatic
component
to
in Dallas
start
Avenue,
looking
and
a child
that's
digging
where
deeper to find out why we are so quick to
stuff of that activity.
I always had
but overcoming that
with
kind of
teachers
shows the
is
person that
absent.
you
Particular,
later on in the
we
future.
didn't even talk members about
in those types of
sometimes
communities, we are very
label
diverse,
children and women
and
and
with that,
men
we have
who
to
are
have
problem
consideration
families,
for one another.
problem children.
And I think that compassion
however,
is a
society
component in Dallas
start
Avenue,
looking
and
at child
that's
defiant.
where
So what else have you
drug
done?
dealers,
Why we are so
absolutely,
quick to
stuff of that activity. So
always
just
had
to chime in for a little bit. So like when a kid goes to school, but overcoming that truancy,
absent.
classroom issues, kids bursting out, what is the issue?
And talk to others about
because as
sometimes
communities, we are very diverse.
children and women
And
and men have problems in class, problems, children.
And I think that
You know,
compassion
that
is
besides
something
when you
that
start
we
looking
see.
at child
That's
defiance,
what
so what else have you done?
And punishing
Why
the child.
identifies
That's what makes
you
it
know,
worse. So
I always got
now the
right.
child feels, hey, so like when a kid goes to
I have nobody to speak
and
to.
overcomes
I have
crying
no
for
friends.
help,
I have no safe space to
classroom
process
issues,
how I'm
kids bursting
feeling.
out.
Kind of feel like I have
What
nobody
is
to
the
talk
issue?
to.
And talk to others about
because as
we are very diverse. Children and women and men have problems in assessing whether or not that child
and I think that compassion.
Yes.
because sometimes that inattention when you start looking at child defiance. So what else have you done? You didn't have children and women and men problems in assessing whether or not that child
And I think that
and so that right.
Yes.
So Jasmine, I just want you to kind of chime in a little bit. We
Mm-hmm.
forgot about you. Defiance. So what else have you done? You didn't have children and women and men problems in assessing whether or not that child
And I think that
and so that right.
Yes.
So Jasmine, I just want you to kind of chime in a little bit. We forgot about you. Defiance. So what else have you done? You didn't have children and women and men problems in assessing whether or not that child and so that right. So Jasmine, I just want you to kind of chime in a little bit. We forgot about you. Defiance. So what else have you done? You didn't have children and women and men problems in assessing whether or not that child and so that right. So Jasmine, I just want you to kind of chime in a little bit. We forgot about you. Defiance. So what else have you done?
Being this type of girl from this neighborhood, oh shit.
Right.
So with that reality, I'm not really
Right.
being this type of girl from this neighborhood, oh shit. So with that, I'm not backing down. I'm not really
Right.
Still fighting.
You know, Jenny Jones was like, she's like, I seen you to this bootcamp. No, I don't want to go. So, so with that, I'm not backing down. I'm not really
Still fighting.
You know, Jenny Jones was like, she's like, I seen you to this bootcamp. No, I don't want to go. So, so with that, I'm not backing down. I'm not really
Still fighting.
You know, Jenny Jones was like, she's like, I seen you to this bootcamp. No, I don't want to go. So,
Still fighting.
you know, Jenny Jones was like,
and that gives them a safe right, because they right. It's literally however,
Still fighting.
you know, honest with ourselves, that gives us right. This is that environment, and that gives us right. So right has the that it's this really environment. However,
Still fighting.
you know, honest with ourselves. And so with that being said, this is that environment. This is that kitchen, right? And so right has it's this really environment. However,
Still fighting.
honest with ourselves. And so with that that means that this is that environment that's disparaging, right? So, right, has and so that means that this is that environment and disparaging, right? So, right, has and so that means that this is that environment and disparaging, right? So, right, has and so that means that this is that environment and disparaging, right? So, right, has and so that means that this is that environment and disparaging, right? So, right, has and so that means that this is that environment and disparaging, right? So, right, has detached
Yes.
from one another, and so
having the conversation.
exactly.
As a community organizer, yes.
Well, that's why, and you know, I
Having the conversation.
exactly
As
because a
community
lot of
organizer,
you may not be having that's why, and, you know, that's why I said it gets real up there. I think you have to go over your, you know, kind of like shifting in your seat. Like I said, I'm really nervous. I'm like, okay, it gets real up in here. Because, right. Because listen, we have to have and our you may not be having that's why that's why I said it gets real up there. I think you have to go over your, you know, kind of like shifting in your seat. Like I said, I'm really nervous. I'm like, okay, it gets real up in here. Because, right. Because listen, we have to have You may not be wrong. That's why you may not be wrong. I remember my name. She was like, "Yeah, I made it for you," and I was like, "Oh, okay." You know, growing up and I remember my name. She was like, "Yeah, I made it for you," and I was like, "Oh, okay." To me, in my growing up as a child, family. I remember my name. It was to the point to where like we're kids and you know, and then as time went by and the I see. I remember my name.
Just to clarify before I bring up this point. So,
yeah, they separated before. And then as time went by, they separated before. I see. I remember my name. You know how the kids just have that. Yeah, they separated before this time. Okay. Yeah, they separated before.
You're definitely.
I am not. You know how the kids do have that. He knew.
You're definitely.
I am not. You know how the kids do have that. When she knew.
You're definitely.
I am not. You know how the kids do have that. When she's I am not. You know how the kids do have that. When she's I am not. You know how the kids do have that. When she's I am not. You know how the kids do have that. She's I am not. you unfortunately have, I call them maladaptive coping skills, which is the negative element of coping, like it being aggressive or defiance, right?
Yeah.
Like that was your defense mechanism. Those are defense mechanisms in order for you to cope with what you're coping with.
And it's like that for a lot of kids.
And it's like that for a lot of kids.
I knew of like kids growing up saying, oh, their parents were divorced or they're no longer together. I didn't ever think that was ever possible in our household.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, our household wasn't perfect, but my mom and dad, they got history. Like, like it was normal for me for when they broke up, they got back together like 3-4 days later. So it was kind of like we were trained and it was a transaction. So like when like they were officially done, I'm like, whoa,
aren't you gonna get back together?
I'm like,
when you going back, Mom?
So like and then from this, after we lived on the south side in that home, we were there for a few years. We then moved on the west side of Stockton.
Oh.
Yeah, we moved on the west side of Stockton.
And Madrid and the west side is two different worlds.
So we moved to the west side of Stockton, and we actually stayed, when you get off the freeway on the Acacia exit, we stayed in that little court that you see right there off that. Yeah, we didn't stay way to the back. I don't even like that back there, but we stayed on the west side of Stockton. So when we stayed on the west side of Stockton, I then started going to Victory Elementary. Victory is actually a pretty good school. And
it's very small.
Yes.
Which is great.
I loved Victory Elementary. Actually, and where we lived was not, it wasn't even bad because we were in that little court.
Yeah.
So we were kind of like isolated from what was going on the west side of Stockton.
Right.
But then in the household, I seen the change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With my mom, you know. I can't say I started noticing the change because now I'm older to understand what's going on. And from there, I became the mommy. I'm cooking, me and my brother. Mom is not really in the home as much now. Yeah. Because she's free.
Yeah.
You know?
So now it's what we call a role reversal.
Yeah.
Where now, you're at an age where you should have still been playing with Barbies.
I'm in the 6th grade
You're
now.
in the 6th grade, so you went from dance rehearsals,
talent shows, because me and my brother always used to be in the talent shows with what was his name, Tony Washington.
With Tony Washington.
I used to hate it though. I'm like, oh, why did she? I'm not a singer. So I'm like, we did these family activities. So now the separation is the west side. I'm just like, okay, I can adjust to this.
And the role reversal. So you went from being a kid and having the basic roles of a kid, of a child, being creative and dancing and singing, whether you liked it or not, you were still doing it. Yeah. Now you're cleaning and taking care of your brother and being the parent. So not only did you have that change in the environment and where you grew up and where you loved, but now you're in a place that you may have not loved so much, just to kind of be politically correct. And also now your role is being a parent. Yes. And so, are we all seeing like these series of environmental traumas? So when, again, practitioners, teachers, communities, when we think about kids like acting out, this is why. Let's dig deep and let's really talk about how that child is faring. Because at the end of the day, you knew what was going on. You were intelligent enough to understand that. But did you understand how to cope with that? Did you know how to cope with that?
No, because in my household, my father was the one that we could sit and we could talk to. My mom, she was the tough one.
Right.
You show no emotion. You're tough.
Yeah.
So that's why I am the way I am. I'm tough.
Yeah.
You're not getting too close to me.
Exactly.
No.
Yeah.
My shield is up.
Yeah.
But as I'm getting older, I'm like, it's okay. Not everybody is the suspect. Not everybody is the bad guy.
Right.
Put it down.
Exactly.
But that's that hypervigilance. That's when I say people are hypervigilant, that is what that means.
Yeah.
That means that you have this protective shield
within your personality, your character, your spirit, your entirety, because, you've been hurt, you've been disappointed, there's things in your life that you didn't appreciate. So you're just more suspicious.
Yeah.
My ex-mother-in-law used to say everybody's a suspect. Otherwise guilty.
You don't put that past nobody.
Everybody's a suspect. But that's that hypervigilance.
Yeah.
And so, yeah.
And for me, so back when my parents divorced, my dad moved up north while mom and we moved in with my grandma in Conway, and we bounced from Conway to the Vista.
Okay.
So we're bouncing in between. So I kind of developed two personalities.
Yeah. Right.
Where I was like Valentino, that's in the streets.
And those who do not know,
please
please understand there is a difference between Conway and Sarah Vista.
Yes.
It really is.
Yes, there is.
It really is.
There really is.
I lived with a family member on Bellevue, like literally across the street in Sierra Vista, and it was just like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Night and day.
It's live.
Night
you know what I mean?
and day.
So I kind of developed these two different personalities where I was Valentino in the streets, but then I was also the proper Valentino out north.
Right.
And so growing up in these two different households as a kid, I understood that. But sometimes I would bring a trait from Valentino to the streets to Northside and be judged for it, or bring a trait from Valentino from Northside to Conway and be judged for that as well. So I kind of couldn't identify with either, you know what I mean? So I kind of kept it to myself.
Right. So there was no middle in that.
No.
And no autonomy.
And you being a boy as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And no autonomy for you. So for me, I kind of grew up in a very similar situation. Like, I grew up in Lincoln District.
Too. We always, I always said I wanted to be in the Lincoln District because I could be calm.
Yeah.
And just
So we were bougie.
Yeah.
We were bougie. And so, but we went from being bougie to the South Side.
Yeah.
And that was like, whoa.
Yeah.
That was like very traumatic for me.
No, yeah.
How did that work for you?
I didn't know anything about other cultures.
Yeah.
And then, people will laugh. People do laugh. And I'm not afraid to say this. But I never knew I was African American until I was like in the 5th grade.
Kimberly.
Because I grew up in Lincoln.
Yeah. Yeah.
There was no people of color.
And you see that creates some divide.
Right.
Yeah.
And looking back now, I realized that me and my sister were the only black girls in the school. And I never knew that. And so when I moved to South Stockton, I was like, what in the world? Like, not only am I black, but they're different colors and shades of black. Like, what is this?
Yeah.
But I got bullied and teased a lot about, like, when we came through for school, we had on like our little ruffle socks on, our little, cashmere sweaters.
Yeah.
And people are like, where are y'all from? And I'm like, oh God, like, this is Mom, can you buy me some jeans?
And I went through that all the time because I would go out north and talk some slang, and then they're like, why are you talking like that?
Yeah.
And then I'll go out south, and then I would be a little proper, and they're like, why are you acting like that?
Right. So that cultural, that subcultural shock of having to readjust how you couldn't be Valentino, the authentic, person. You have to readjust. And like, even when you went to Franklin, like you were saying how it was like a subculture shock.
Franklin was like, so, oh my God.
We're not just sorry, Franklin.
No,
High School graduate.
I graduated
We
2003 from
you.
Franklin High School. But, if a person said they can turn back the hands of time and do it over, I think I would do a do-over. I would, like, literally, because living on the east side and attending Franklin High School was, it was so hard to where I used to, like, question myself. If I'm still here, would they even miss me? And that's bad when you get to start thinking that, But it's like, I can't open up and vent because I'm like, then I'm going to be weak.
Yes.
So I'm like.
That was exactly.
That's that coping mechanism that you had to adjust to because of all your life, situations and obstacles. Like, you have to reframe yourself. But that's deep, Jasmine, because, I kind of feel like we're sitting here today and we're, resilient and we've overcome some things. But what about the kids who don't have those outlets?
And that's what bothers me the most.
Right?
Because, I mean, my dad was financially stable, but yet mom was in Conway. So I'm going from seeing kids getting to whatever they want, whatever their dreams, to I have a next door neighbor that can't even buy socks for their kids. And I'm like, that's an issue.
That's
you know
an
what
issue.
I mean?
And it's traumatic for the parent not being able to afford socks for their kids. And it's traumatic for the kids who don't have the socks. And so where's the balance in this? You know, where's the equity in income, the equity in safeguards, the equity in consistency, and that self-belonging. And those are conversations that I have every day with people. Like, how do we cope? And not only just cope, because you only can cope so much when you don't have food. Like,
exactly.
Coping and taking deep breaths and thinking positive and having an empty stomach is two different things.
True. Because when we stayed on the east side of Stockton, my mom then started change. Like, she wasn't ever perfect, but it was like a change in her too when we lived in that neighborhood.
Right.
It was things that I used to hear as a child that I didn't agree with it or I didn't understand. And then it was times where we were hungry, and my mom was like, she not asking no family member for nothing. You know, we'll salve it out. Or it's been a few times people in the neighborhood, they'll like bring us food or whatever. And I just be like, dang, get it in my head. I'm like, you go to work every day and you go to school. How you don't have no money? You know?
Yeah.
Me not thinking, okay, it's a single parent. My mom now has 6 kids.
Yeah.
Right.
You know, and she's on a set income.
6 grown kids.
Right. It's 6 of us. The youngest is 19, 20 now.
Wow.
But it's like, in my head, I'm like, how you don't have the money and your rent is only this amount, but I'm not thinking of all the other stuff that come with it.
PG&E,
car
water,
note, insurance, life
childcare,
policies, you know, bus fare for me and my brother to get back to school.
Right.
I didn't think about any of that, you know, lunch money. So I just was like, I don't get it. And now that I'm an adult, and I'm like,
oh, you got that
get
message.
it.
You got
I used to
that
always
now.
say, I can't wait till I get grown. And now I'm grown, I'd be like, maybe my childhood wasn't that bad, you know, because it was like,
I'm still growing up. I'm only 19, and you know these bills are starting to come in a little bit more, and it, you know, going to college, it's hard. It really is hard, and that just adds a little bit more extra pressure, and it's crazy.
So taking a step back, thinking about, you know, the effects of the economy now. The economy is not as stable as it should be, or it has
it's worse now.
You know, the rise of PG&E, you know, the rise of water, the rise of just rent in Stockton alone. And so thinking about all of these issues that the community and its members face, I don't know about you guys, but I'm a lot more deeper concerned. Because, you know, we talk about how we felt in those traumatic experiences. Think about how the parents feel.
Exactly.
Like, as a parent, I'm a parent. I know Jasmine is a parent. Being a parent and having your child ask for something that you know that you can't provide is not a good feeling. It's not a good feeling. And you know, my kids too, like they have like these expectations of like, you know, we want you to buy this, or we want to go here, we want to go there. You know, when Southwest launched the $49
Hawaii, you should have seen me. Right. Jasmine, stop, because they don't need to go nowhere right now. It's cool. Right. They just went on vacation, you know.
So my kids are all like, "Oh, look, Mom, well, we can go this and this and that." And I'm like, "Okay," I'm thinking in the back of my mind, that sounds great, but guess what? The PG&E bill is $700 this month.
My PG&E bill, I didn't understand it, and I was like, maybe it's because they filed bankrupt when I, you know, and I was like, I didn't understand that bill. I did not understand that bill.
Listen,
and thinking for solutions for that kind of ties into what I'm a supporter of what our current mayor is doing with the basic income for $500 a month for a selected family. Because I've seen the effects that just $500 can have on somebody. And so, you know, when I think about when somebody asks, well, what can you do? Well, think about your current position. You know, if you're serving on a nonprofit board or you're with an organization, you're a business owner, what can you do just to help take off that little load.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because it's not a good feeling.
Yeah.
And and it's not to say that I go, I tell my kids, like, well, the PG&E bill is this much and the water bill is this much. And as a business owner, Jasmine, holla if you hear me, as a business owner.
Yeah, it's challenging.
I pay almost $800 a month in just insurances, malpractice, insurance for my business establishment, health insurance business,
exactly,
car insurance business, car insurance.
Them dollars really add up. And when I opened up my business, I just jumped into it. I didn't even think of all the things that I needed to do. I just knew I need to go to the city hall and make sure this paper is right. So if state board of regulation come in, I won't be in trouble. Or even if somebody call in because they think I'm not legit, I'm not going to get in trouble. But I didn't think about when you're actually working one-on-one with a client, doing a desired style that they request, you got to have not only business insurance, but you have to have professional insurance.
Absolutely.
Professional insurance is where they're going to cover you if you do mess up on that client here and they decide to take you to court.
Liability.
It adds up.
And then you have to also make sure in your insurance, like, for instance, my salon was down for 9 days.
Wow. Yeah.
That was lack of an income for me. And I'm just like, so you got to make sure in that insurance you have coverage for that, and then every month in a business, it's always a new ideal that you're wanting. And, and it's to me, a business is just two homes that you have to balance.
Yeah.
Two homes. And then for me growing up the way I grew up, and I know everybody is not rich or financially stable, so I try to make my prices affordable.
Exactly.
And when other businesses come and tell me that I'm charging too little or I'm not charging enough and you don't see no profit, and I tell them, like, straight up, don't tell me how to price my business. I know what I'm doing, and I know why I'm doing it. Not everybody can afford a $200-300 install.
And you know what, Jasmine, I have to give you kudos for that, because let me tell you, as a therapist, our self-image, everybody, not just women, our self-image is important. And if we don't feel good and confident about ourselves, which is looking good, that is
it's depression.
That's depressing.
You know, when us women get our hair done, our man, even us, we turn into a whole nother person.
I know it.
Literally, when you walk into my salon, I have this sticker on my wall that a good friend of mine makes. Her name is TK, and my sticker says, "Bring out your inner Beyonce." And I put that on that wall for a purpose. Like, when you walk into my place of business, I want you to feel good.
Yeah.
Not only look-wise, but financially wise. I'm not trying to dig a hole in your pocket, because this is something I like to do.
Exactly.
Yeah, and she's very good at it. I see her at least every 3 months.
My salon is my outlet from, like, the way I grew up and how I want things to be in life. When I'm in my salon, I'm in a zone. I feel good. I'm happy. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, not every client that comes in here pays. No. I don't broadcast it because it's nobody's business. It's between me and that person. Not every client that comes in and I'm not, clients, please don't get upset when I say this. They don't get the same treatment as this other client. I make sure everybody is satisfied when they leave.
Right.
But each client that I have a personal level with them, a personal relationship. So I have one client. I might just have to say your name. I'm sorry, Miss Janice, but I love her. She's seen the struggle from when she's been with me since Amira was in the 3rd grade. That's how long she's been my client.
Wow.
And she's on a set income due to, because she was an Army brat, due to a car crash. And since I've been knowing her, since Amira was in the 3rd grade, she has had so many different surgeries. And she will scrounge up any dollar she got to come get her hair done. And she'd be like, "Oh, babe, I got $50. What can I get for $50? And she know my schedule is reckless. Sometimes it takes me like 6-7 days to respond to her. And when I finally do respond to her, I'd be like, "Oh, it's $50." She get in. I'd be like, "I don't need your money. Just go. Just get your hair done. Just go."
Yeah.
Because I love her. I appreciate her. You've been riding it out with me. You didn't sit on you didn't have surgeries. You didn't sit on the floor, to the bar stools, to the kitchen chairs, to coming to your house, to now coming to my place of business. And you respect my rules at my place of business. So I value that kind of stuff. I do. I value it.
So continuity and loyalty and just a regard, you know. I think that the moral of the story is to have kind regards for others, because we don't know what he or she may be facing.
Exactly.
Seriously.
So,
Exactly.
all right, guys, this is a good show. We was running it. We was getting it down. Last thoughts, starting with Valentino, ending with Jasmine. Any last thoughts?
I mean, trauma is a hard thing, but at the end of it, you just have to remember that it's upon yourself to really, really push. Of course, you're going to have outside resources to help you. Of course, you're going to have people that love and support you there, but it's really going to take within yourself, because it has to be authentic to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
My thing on trauma, I can't say you have to learn how to adjust, because it's really challenging. But if you do know someone that their situation is not how they want it to be, always reach out to them. Just talk to them. You know, give them some encouraging words. You know, sometimes, you know, I wish I had that. I had it, but at certain times I wish, like, oh, somebody was there I could turn to and talk to it. And honestly, you know, people, they want to give financially. That's always not a blessing. You know, being just an open ear, or just even sitting on the phone, or just sitting with them, just letting them vent, that can be so helpful.
Exactly.
So helpful.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I guess my last thoughts are just two things. One, like Jasmine said, you never know what people are going through. So having that open ear and being open for people to be, you know, not afraid to explain how they're feeling, and to never judge a book by its cover, because you just never know.
Exactly.
Lastly, on every Friday at my trauma recovery center at 31 North San Joaquin Street, I will be hosting a coffee with
There we
Kimberly.
go.
This is open to the community for 2 hours every day, one day a week. That was my gift back to the community. And you can come and talk about whatever it is you want. You bring the conversation. I provide the coffee.
And she gonna dig.
She gonna bring it out.
Yeah, it gets real. It gets real. It gets real. So, anyway, you know, thank you for all the viewers. It looks like the show is doing really, really well. A lot of people are tuning in. So with that, I'm feeling like people are having issues and they're trying to get to a solution.
Yes.
So with that being said, don't forget to join us in 2 weeks for another conversation with Live with Kimberly on the Voice of San Joaquin. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, because we can't tag you if you don't like our page. So don't forget to like our page. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And thank you, everybody.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. See you guys in another 2 weeks.
Bye.
Bye.